From Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded live Saturday, 6 April 2013, episode 62, I Need a Vacation. Well, welcome once again to another episode of Two Guys Who Dive, and I am your venerable host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with...
Robert Garza.
A.K.A.?
ScubaBob. I have so many names. They rotate every week.
Aliases abound with you.
Yes.
I tell you, when they really crank down on those of us with weapons, they're going to have a hard time tracking you down.
That's why I'm doing it.
Give them the old razzle-dazzle.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, and yet another state has passed constrictive gun laws in Connecticut. You know, it's just getting crazy, and just you need to look at the stuff that Harry Reid is putting forward in the Senate. It's just crazy, the kind of stuff he's... Before it's all over with, they will try to have everybody registering every kind of weapon. And you will... Well, thank you. Thank you, Greza. Yes, we... Greza's squeaking one of her little toys that she likes. That is like chewing gum for the rest of us. She likes that. But they'll be making us register everything. If you have any kind of magazines, they'll make you register those. If they say, well, you can only have 10 round magazines, but if you had a 30, you have to register it. And background checks for every kind of sale. If you want to sell something to me, you have to do a background check on me. That's the way this is going.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. That's just the first step before the government totally takes everything away. It's just where it's going. So we were talking a little bit before the podcast began. You drove up in a different vehicle.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how you wanted a truck because it was getting difficult to carry your gear around. But
yeah. I guess I got kind of spoiled. This is a funny story. We actually went to a local Nissan here in Del Rio, and we were just gonna look.
That's how it always starts.
Well, I really had no intention, and I was like, well, we're gonna go and look. And I was actually looking at a truck, because I had just mentioned to you about hauling stuff.
Right.
And although I wasn't sure if I was ready to give up the car because of the gas economy that,
Yeah, no kidding.
They're just awesome as opposed to a truck. And so we walked in there, and sure enough, like 2 hours later, we drove off.
Can they not make that any easier? I mean, seriously.
It was really like no effort at all. It was, let's just go ahead and check. And I was
except for the 2 hours you have to wait.
Right. And sure enough, it was done. It was a done deal.
Well, that's basically how we got our Mustang. I was actually coming back from a TDY.
Oh, okay.
A temporary duty for the uninitiated out there. A business trip, if you will. And we'd been kind of looking, but, while we were in, she was picking me up in San Antonio because we didn't have the airport here actually up and running. So pulled into one place looking at the Mustangs because I definitely wanted a Mustang because that was plan B because they had stopped making the Camaros at that point. And we said, well, let's just take a look since we're here. And we ended up going place to place and couldn't get exactly what I wanted because if I was going to buy a new vehicle, I wanted the 5-speed stick shift. I didn't want automatic, and that's what most of them were.
Yeah.
I did not want a leather interior because those are horrible in summer. And they're really cold in winter.
Yes.
So, and I didn't want a ragtop. Absolutely hate convertibles. So but you know, I couldn't find that right combination until we happened to go to one place, and he said, one of the salesperson says, you know what, if you go to such and such, they may actually have something like that. So we pull in, and they happen to be that day have their very salespeople standing at like at the entrance as you pull in. They're like, "Hi, welcome to such and such motors," you know, and we pull in, and I said, "Here's what I'm looking for," and the guy says, "You know what? I deal with those. Pull over here and let's go take a look." So we pulled in, and he walks over. And he was specifically the guy that the person that we talked to at the previous location said, you know what, if you talk to this guy, he's really knowledgeable about how to get hooked up with one of those. So sure enough, that was the guy waiting at the entrance as we pulled up. So he looks around and he said, well, you know, we got this one, but none of them were the one like I wanted. I didn't care necessarily about the color. So then we go into the waiting area, and he says, wait a minute, one just pulled in from another dealership in another town. Let's go take a look. And literally, it was still running. They had just pulled it off the truck. So it was still running, and we walk out with him, and he's looking at it. He says, cloth interior. Do you mind red? No, of course I don't mind red. 5-speed, power everything, GT. Want to take it for a drive? Sure, because it's already running. So we open and take a look. I was like, yeah, this is the car. So 3 hours later, we drive back to Del Rio with the Mustang.
I'm telling you, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah, everything lines up nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. So how was your week?
It was good. Good.
Any events? Crises?
No, everything was good and quiet. You know, thank heaven.
Yeah.
No, everything was good. Just it was test week at the school, so everybody was kind of doing a modified schedule. They weren't on their routine. They were
prepping for the test.
Yeah, some students were testing, some were not. In the past, they've pretty much done like the whole week, the whole campus test at one time. This time they broke it up by grade level. So Monday,
what was the purpose behind that?
To try to keep the students as going through their regular schedule as possible. Because if you test them for all the students in, let's just say 3 days, that's 3 days of instruction that all of them missed. So this way they were like, we'll test one grade level one day and the others can keep going. Mm-hmm. So in other words, it was more instruction time that they didn't lose.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So,
yeah, the whole standardized test system has kind of been in the news lately. People, a lot of commentary going on. And it's. I am all for a standard that helps us determine if our kids are being taught, and also as some sort of a measure to get an idea how well the teachers are doing. Unfortunately, we had a big hullabaloo, and I forgot to catch the details of where, but evidently a whole bunch of teachers got busted, not in Del Rio, elsewhere. Got busted for cheating. They were literally helping their students pass whatever that state's standardized tests were.
I don't. That's actually come up a couple of times, I believe, or
here?
I think once. Yes, here.
Really?
Huh. Of course, that individual is no longer employed.
With just one teacher.
Well, it was an administrator. Actually.
Oh.
The actual campus administrator.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that person is no longer here. But I guess it happens. It's a very tempting thing because there's a lot riding on this exam. On the campus level, on the administrative level, everyone is held accountable pretty much for it.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be the ones to say, okay, everybody else did well, but you didn't.
Right.
And obviously there's some people feel that they know their demographics, and they know that they're not going to do so well. So they try to do everything they can to try to get those scores as high as possible. And
See, and that is the downside, and this was the kind of thing that was discussed amongst the various pundits commenting on the issue of the teachers getting busted, is that there is a tendency to make it attractive to cheat the system, because if it's all about the numbers, then what happens if you're the one that stands out? So what better way, rather than focus on actually teaching the kids, than to simply just teach the test? And that's really what's the big bone of contention is. And that's my big fear. When you set a standard like that, instead of saying, you know what, there are tests that go with the material that you're learning, those should be the focus of the scores. And then have evaluators come in to see how the teacher is actually teaching the course, you know, rather than focusing on a set of numbers that, lacking any other supervision or oversight, could be fudged.
Yeah.
If somebody's a little loose on the integrity scale.
Well, you know, and you're exactly right. A lot of, from what I've been hearing, is people are upset because the students are no longer finding school fun because all they're doing is prepping for one test,
right?
Which is the state assessment test that everybody has to take and pass before you can even graduate. And there's such a huge emphasis on it that the students are like, all we're doing is testing. And if you look at the media, the news, all the teachers that are actually getting on the news and complaining about this, it's kind of like, you know, all we're doing is testing every day. And I hear that from my wife. You know, she's she teaches 5th grade, and it's like, well, we're doing a benchmark. We're doing a benchmark test. I'm like, that's all you do is test.
Yeah, exactly. Where did we lose track of the focus of, here are the courses, here is the standard for that course and how to pass it, rather than this big, massive statewide test? Where did we lose sight of the real grade of how they're learning? You know, unfortunately, you know, I look back at when I was in school, and we didn't have these standardized tests that we took throughout the year. You had the tests that were done in your school for the courses at every 6 weeks. You know, you had those you focused on. But the SATs was a total separate thing, because that was basically looking to see what your chances were for college.
Right.
If you were teaching well in the throughout the courses and learning well as a student in the courses throughout your especially your high school years, you were reasonably going to be prepared for the SATs, because that was really the focus. What I felt that I came away from my classes, I knew where my strong suits were, I knew where my weak suits were, and I knew what I was going to be prepared for college and what I wasn't going to be prepared. You know, what classes would not be ready for college. Math was never my strongest suit, and I hated it. So, although, you know, algebra turned out to be a useful knowledge throughout my life. There's a number of, you know, situations we were trying to solve for variables and things like that. Especially came in handy in getting certified as an instructor. There's a lot of opportunity to use algebra there. Most of the other stuff, I wasn't going to be an engineer, so there wasn't much purpose for a lot of that other stuff. Right. But I did really well in biology, and did really good in other sciences, and did really well in, you know, social studies. You know, especially since I thought at the time I was going to become a lawyer, and so I kind of focused on a lot of that stuff, and of course music. But now, what is it they're really teaching? What is the goal for teaching? If you're not teaching for the test, what are you really trying to teach the kids? That's the question I end up having. If I were a parent, I'd be like, so what'd you learn today, Johnny? How to take the test.
I learned strategies.
I learned
strategies.
Testing strategies.
And how to actually show my strategy on paper.
Exactly. You know, and you know, coming from, as a veteran, in the Air Force, a lot of the focus is on testing.
Yeah.
You know, you get points for the amount of time you were in the Air Force. You get points for the amount of time you're at your particular grade. And you get certain other points elsewhere. But the big thing was how you tested across not only your Air Force general, but also specifically to your particular career field. And so I knew a lot of people in the military who did a wonderful job testing. You know, they get enough time in grade and time in service that they really focused hard on the testing. And they did awesome job in the testing. But when it came to them actually being a valuable military member at that grade, that rank that they reached, they were horrible. You know, we have a saying in the Air Force. It may be similar across the other branches, but talking about Chief Master Sergeants, which are the highest enlisted rank. We have a saying that where we refer to somebody as either, now that's a chief, or no, that's an E9. You know, and it's really to say the person made the grade, but they do not exemplify what it means to be a Chief Master Sergeant. Mm-hmm. They tested well.
Well, it's kind of to say the same thing with, and man, I shouldn't even be saying this, but this is just my personal opinion.
Right. Does not reflect the opinions of the school district.
Well, you know, you have, for example, a lot of administrators now that are assuming the role of, you know, like campus administrators, you know, principals, assistant principals and whatnot. Right. But they're not going through like all of the training. All they're doing is they're taking a test and getting certification, and that's it. You know, there's no
real skill behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, they've got the certification, so there you go. That qualifies you for the position.
Yeah.
But like, for example, here, all you really got to do is you have to be in a classroom for 2 years, and then you can go ahead and move up to administrator.
You are kidding me.
No. If you have, of course, there's the education that comes behind it. In order to be an administrator, you have to be highly qualified, and highly qualified is you have to have a master's degree. But you have to get a master's degree, and it can be in anything.
Let's explore that topic a bit, too.
You know, you can get a master's degree in anything. Go and get a certification, and there you go.
I've got a bachelor's in basket weaving.
You know, it can be in.
And, you know, it's interesting. There is beginning to be a growing debate over the real value of a college degree.
Yeah, I've
certainly
read that.
Advanced degrees. I mean, you look at some of the most successful people, and many of them have either very, very low-end degrees or no degree at all. And I'll admit right here, I took some college, but I do not have any degree. I've got certifications, and I'm finding that, and many people are too, they're seeing that the cost associated with getting a degree and then working your way to advanced degree is so prohibitive. And then, of course, then we've got the president and the administration pushing for college educations and then rolling all of the control of financing that, funding that under the federal government. So we become more indebted to the government for everything. I'm seeing more and more examples of where those degrees allow the person to have no demonstrable practical application, especially if they're coming away with various liberal arts degrees instead of a technical degree.
Right.
Now, I will grant you that some of your technical ones, like, you know, chemistry and engineering and things like that, can definitely lead to application. But you look at the experience that I have, the things that the things that I'm knowledgeable about, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious here, but I can hold my own in conversation with just about anyone on any topic. I can show people, demonstrate a number of areas of prowess of either technical or other vocational type areas. Because I understand how to absorb the information as it's practically used, rather than taking a bunch of tests, being able to spend, insane amounts of money passing a bunch of tests. I have run into too many people who have degrees out the gazoo, but they are as dumb as a rock.
Yep.
I'm like, how do you people open up a computer? How do you text? You barely know how that technology works. How do you operate a vehicle? I got a flat tire. I don't know what to do. I'm like, dumb as rocks, but they've got a PhD.
Tell you, this is where we live in. And you're kind of like me, which is, sometimes I'll surprise people with what I know.
Right.
But it's kind of more like you. I'm experienced. And yes, I'm educated.
And unless you told them, they would assume that you have some sort of a degree.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. They were like, oh, okay, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. My old boss, he used to be the technology director here, Donnie Weaver.
Yeah.
He got he got most of all his training in the military, in the Army.
Right.
So when he got out, he was the one who actually came in and started the internet.
Wait a minute, he invented the internet?
Well, no, he actually
I just had to go
set
there.
up all of the intranet within the school district.
Okay, gotcha,
He's the one that brought in the fiber down here. He's the one that did it all. Created the NOC, that's Network Operations Center for those of you that out there that don't know what that's called.
As Rush would say, those of you in Loma Linda.
Yeah. So he brought all that in and set it all up because of his experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now he wasn't educated at all. So he left the school district because he finally started his own company, and now he's living in Fredericksburg, got his own plane. He flies and does everything.
Sweet.
He's done it all, and what really gets me mad is he's only like 38 years old.
Wow.
But his salary, I'm pretty sure is up there.
Yeah.
I know he definitely makes over 100,000.
Yeah.
Maybe over 200, 300,000. Yeah. But nonetheless, I mean, I asked him one time, I'm like, hey, I'm kind of interested, because to help him out.
Right.
Hey, if you're ever interested and you need an extra pair of hands, I'd gladly like to help you out, work for you. And the first thing he just goes, do me a favor, get certifications. He didn't tell me anything about, go and get a degree in computer science, MIS. He didn't say any of that. He just goes, get Cisco certified, get network certified, get, Microsoft certification, the security, or, get the CIPP or what?
CISP?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Get those certifications and then come and see me. For him, it's about get the certifications and I'll train you.
That goes along the lines of what I was talking about, getting the vocational type accreditations. That's like Drawn Business College and some of these others that focus on getting you certified to do the actual career. Back in the day, we had apprenticeships. And really, I view the modern day technical schools and vocational schools as being the apprenticeship of the 21st century. That's where you go to learn a specific skill rather than general knowledge that most of college gives you. I found the amount of time I did go to college, I found it very frustrating because, you had the general studies bit, and I'm like, well, how does this help me focus on what my career needs to be? I'm just not a fan of such things as general studies. Once you get out of high school, that should be your general studies. Mm-hmm. After that, it should be what you really are going to go for your degree on. Unfortunately, you have a lot of kids who are perpetual students. They're just taking bunches of general studies classes till I'm still trying to figure out my I haven't declared a major yet. And I'm like, then what are you doing in college? What are you wasting your money or your parents' money or taxpayer dollars doing that for? I mean, seriously.
All right.
So anyway. But now that's not to say that everybody who has a degree is useless. I'm just saying that should not be the thing that draws the line for you.
Yeah.
Show it, have them demonstrate for you what they can do. Don't look at the degree. If you've got two people that can demonstrate a knowledge level that's all other things being equal, and you need a tiebreaker, that should be the tiebreaker. That shouldn't be the thing that show me your resume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I read an article, and it was some time back, but I think it read something like 76 or 77% of the people out there are overqualified for the positions that they're currently having.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which is kind of ridiculous because, especially with today, getting a degree doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go out there and make $100,000 a year.
Right.
You have a lot of people that have degrees out there that are working like at a McDonald's and everything else. I think I mentioned this in a previous episode.
Yep.
But, you have to go out there and look and see what's available. Just yesterday, I was actually looking at an article, and it listed the top 15 or 20 jobs that pay money. That pay. And right now, I think it was ranked number 3, was a dental hygienist.
Really?
Yep. You know what the pay is for of course, it just depends on location.
That is some nasty work, too.
A dental hygienist, $86,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, that's not the person who does the surgeries and stuff. That's not the dentist.
That's the person that cleans your teeth.
Oh, of course, did you see that report on that dentist who, I guess he's been doing it for years and years and years, and
he
all these...
infected everybody with HIV?
Yeah, because he was using, if you had some sort of illness, he was using another set of tools that were not properly sanitized and sterilized, all that stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just grossing me out. I was like, wow.
The CDC advised everybody to go and get checked.
That's bad.
That's bad.
That is really bad.
It was in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Pennsylvania 65000. So, well, we're definitely going to have to cut off at 9 o'clock tonight, folks, because yours truly, a member of a local Christian band called Living Water Sound, I will be performing in the Street Beat, which is an annual music festival, Christian music festival, in Del Rio, Texas, down at the amphitheater by Moore Park. And we follow after the name act, 9 Lashes. We're right after them, so we'll be going on around 10-ish. And of course, these things never go exactly as planned, kind of like on our podcast. So we'll be going on about 10-ish. So if you're in the Del Rio area and you want to check us out, we'd love to have you there. Here's some good Christian music. And it's not sleepy stuff. We're content. Matter of fact, most of the groups there playing tonight are pretty hardcore. 9 Lashes, if you check them out, they're kind of a little bit of a grunge, more of a grunge techno feel to them.
Yeah.
Some of the other groups are, like Beastie Boys. I mean, coming across Soldiers of God were just starting when we were setting our gear up off to the side of the stage. And I mean, they got a nice lineup, but I mean, they're like, they seriously had it rocking, throwing the rap on top of it. So it was definitely like a Beastie Boys feel. It was pretty cool. So very contemporary. In fact, our band is probably the tamest of all the groups there. So
I remember, was it last year or the year before? I think I actually
rode up on your bike. I
rode my bike up there on you.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so I noticed that you had a very different opinion of the movie G.I. Joe Retaliation than I did. Troy and I talked about it because we went to see it with our spouses, our significant others, last week, and you had seen it, and you had posted something on Facebook that you didn't care for it. Matter of fact, I think the words you said were "it sucked."
Yeah,
Okay, so share.
Okay, I'm gonna explain.
Go to explain.
The thing with me was I had just seen the week before. I had seen Olympus Has Fallen, and that one, I really, Dominic asked me, "Hey, do you want to go see it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." So when I went, I wasn't anticipating too much.
Right.
Because, I like Gerard Butler's movies, but I have a hard time because for at least for me, he's stereotyped as Leonidas from 300. I can't picture him, except fighting some the Persians or something. And but it was actually surprisingly good to me. I liked it. So
Olympus.
Yeah, okay. Olympus. So when I went into the movies, I wasn't expecting very much. I thought, okay, it's gonna be kind of corny. Right. You know, it was just, let's go see it. It wasn't one that I was actually wanting to see, like G.I. Joe. I was anticipating that one. But it just, and it was a good movie. But then the following week, we went to go see G.I. Joe, and I was kind of like, what? You know, to me, the main character, you know, biting it in the first 10 minutes of the movie was, I know he dies, or, you know, he does. I think supposedly Dominic said that he does die, but he was supposed to come back. I don't know, something like that.
He probably just wanted out of the contract.
That's probably
really that simple.
He's probably like, you know what? The Rock is here. They're paying him more than they're paying me, and I'm the main guy. You know what? I'm out of here. And then you see The Rock, and the guy looks like he's you know, some kind of monstrosity.
He is a big dude.
I know, that's what I mean. But the thing
don't be hating.
Well, you know, we were kind of just picking things out, and then Bruce Willis, you know, I love Bruce Willis.
He is hilarious.
But you know, the way he was in the movie was kind of like he was being a jokester. You know, he was kind of had this little way about him.
Right.
And reminded me. Did you ever see Red?
Oh, I love that movie.
Okay. When he came out in Red, he had this like machine guns everywhere. I thought it was a little over the top when they went to his house, and he's opening drawers and there's like machine guns, and
I thought that was great. But I was like cheering. I was like, I want a house like that.
Yeah, I know, but it was, to me, it was like, that's over the top. I mean, I got an arsenal in my house, but I don't have, you know, I don't have guns.
I want a house like that.
So to me, it was just. It was a little too much. I think the movie was done good. The CGI, I think, was not over the top, you know, like in some movies.
Right.
It was well done and everything, but it was just the way the characters were. To me personally, I just didn't like it.
See, for me, I liked this one better, and Troy and I were talking about this last week. I liked it better because it moved the movie, it moved the franchise closer to what I remember the cartoon being, even down to Cobra Commander's costume. I was like, now that looks like the cartoon. And so the characters moved more that direction. The whole approach moved more that direction. To me, it almost felt like a reboot. But again, if it's kind of like, what was another, like Transformers. I was never a huge Transformers fan, but in no way, shape, or form have I ever felt that the movies did anything as a homage to the cartoon. It was just totally a disrespect to the cartoon. So I've watched them, but I'm like, okay, you know, just it doesn't have the same effect to me. The second movie had more of us like, okay, yeah, nice hook to the cartoon, So I liked it on that premise. There were definitely some things I was going, but overall, I definitely liked it.
You know, because like Dominic and I were talking about it, and I was like, did you ever see Act of Valor? The one that was based on the Navy SEALs. There were actual Navy SEAls.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Okay, in the actual characters are actually Navy SEALs in Act of Valor.
Yeah.
Well, when you see these guys, you know, Navy SEALs, they're bad.
Oh yeah.
They're bad, you know.
Oh yeah.
And you look at them, the guys who are actual SEALs, they're not morphed, you know, like
right.
like you know,
they're
the
functional.
Rock. Yeah,
they're functional.
Exactly. That's where I thought, okay, I mean, everybody there looked like they're on steroids, you know. It was just too much. The active military people are not that.
Yeah.
That
no.
You know, that's swollen.
Another part that was disappointing to me was, while it wasn't R-rated, it was a blatant gawk at the actress playing Lady Jane.
Oh.
I was like, come on. Could you waste any more film time just focusing on... I mean, she was, don't get me wrong, attractive girl, looked great in any uniform, even though there was no way that the uniform she was wearing was anything functional. Or certainly regulation. And, oh, by the way, her hair wouldn't be down while wearing the uniform, certainly not while wearing the hat. But I'm like, come on, blatant. Oh, let's take a reflection shot in the TV so we can see her stripping down to her thong. I'm like, really? Necessary? I don't think so. I'm like, just come on. And because I'm like, there are kids coming to see this.
Yep. That, and I mean, everybody else's, I just thought it was funny. The part where she's going to go where they're dancing, where she needs to go and get a sample of blood from the president.
Yeah.
And everybody else is in black and white. And then she comes walking in a red dress. I mean, she stood out everything. I mean, of course, that was the whole intention.
Oh, absolutely.
But, it was just, okay.
Absolutely.
For somebody who's trying really to get noticed but not really make a big...
Oh, this whole thing?
Yeah, it's just... Don't get me wrong. It was okay. It was good. But to me, I was expecting a little bit more. Yeah. And, of course, Bruce Willis, even though you bring kind of a little silly there, I don't care. He's awesome.
Okay, I was waiting for the punchline for the whole reference to Wendy. Because Bruce Willis kept calling her Wendy.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm Captain. I'm she was like, would you like me to get coffee or I was waiting for that moment when he was going to finally explain why the name Wendy. There was probably going to be I don't know, Wendy as in the hamburger chain. I don't know. I was like waiting for the hook. Where's the punchline? And there was
because
never
she was a redhead.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So there was never a punchline to that, and I was disappointed. I'm like, come on, close the loop, finish it out, and give us the hook on that. So it didn't happen.
But
well, my week was very challenging. Actually, it's just been a continuation of previous weeks where can't seem to get anything done. Going through various upgrades and changes and just every kind of roadblock put in my way, and I was like, good grief, I have got to get away. I've got to have a vacation. And we did our taxes finally, and we're getting a really good chunk back.
Cool.
So we're kind of figuring out what we want to do as far as a vacation. We're kind of bouncing back and forth between Grand Cayman and Belize. Tara's first saltwater dive was in Grand Cayman, and she loved it. And we've been kind of looking up online what's going to cost, and basically for a 7-night all-inclusive with scuba diving and everything, for Grand Cayman about $1,300 per person plus airfare of about $535 per person.
Wow.
So, and then Belize, a little bit more expensive because it's further away. It's about $1,600 per person for the diving and the
hotel and
everything, and then $717 a person for flight.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's expensive.
But the just so that everybody knows out there, the all-inclusive also includes the meal tickets, correct? Or the meals?
Yeah, those are good.
Yep.
So we're kind of going back and forth between that. I think we're kind of leaning towards Cayman, mostly because she has a great memory of that. It's a little bit cheaper, and they're definitely we only did the 2 dives there, so we definitely being able to spend a whole week there would be awesome. But really, it reminds me, and should remind everybody, that you need to take your vacations. You know, most jobs, you're building up some sort of vacation time.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that you take that. And as a diver, you should dive every opportunity you can, but you should definitely be trying to set yourself up to go to vacation spots that allow you to really enjoy scuba diving. You know, there was a time when Tara and I would spend our whole year and never go anywhere. Yeah. Just hang around here, which isn't bad, but we just would never go on vacation. And it took, actually, me getting transferred to the Pentagon and us signing up with a kind of a timeshare vacation thing where it forced us. You know, you're spending this money, you better go.
Yeah.
And so our first trip was to St. Martin, the Virgin Islands, and that was my first saltwater trip, and it was great. Unfortunately for Tara, she wasn't a diver, and she was laying out on the beach while I was scuba diving, and she got red lobster red. I mean, she was totally baked. Poor thing. She did not have a fun time the rest of the vacation. But you really should make sure that you put the money aside to do these vacations. Plan it out. Even if it's a shorter vacation, you know, a 3-day or 3-night or a 5-day, whatever. Plan those vacations. Go somewhere. Do something. Because otherwise, you're just going to build up frustration with your job and family and all this other stuff. Oh, thank you. Here goes Grace again with the toy. And I never realized till we went on that first real vacation how much it really made a difference in dealing with the rest of the whole year. It was amazing.
Yep.
You know, what kind of vacations have you gone on?
We do go on vacations. We don't go as far as, you know, that far, you know, because we have kids and stuff.
Right.
But it got, you know, we've been having that conversation to where Sandy kind of wants to, you know, take the boys to, you know, Disney World and things like that. But, and it's kind of, we've talked about it, and Dominic's like, well, yeah, let's go, you know, but what
does he think he's one of your kids?
Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, you know, since he actually lived in Florida, he's got family there.
Right.
Sandy was like, yeah, we can do this. Look, we can go to Disney World, and then you and Dominic can take off and go diving. You know, so I'm like, that sounds like a plan. Yeah. The other thing she wants to do is she wants to go on vacation to Las Vegas. I'm trying to set it up so that when
Dima.
Exactly. You read my mind.
Of course, this year it's in Orlando.
It's in Orlando, right? So I have a whole year to finish my dive master so that I can get in there.
There you go. There you go.
So hopefully next year, that's where I want to go. I actually want to save up and go and have a good time.
Well, the neat thing about doing Florida is it's obviously in the continental U.S., and it's usually an easier trip, either driving or flying. And you get one of especially if you go to the Keys, you do get to dive in one of the best coral reefs in the world. We've gone a number of times, and especially when we didn't have as much money to go, but we wanted to go somewhere, and we've had a great time. I love diving in the Keys. We did Key West for the first time, the last time we were in Florida, and had a blast. Of course, it's like San Francisco, so you have to put up with a lot of that. But the diving itself was wonderful. You know, it's just gorgeous. But there really aren't too many bad spots.
Are you referring to a specific part of San Francisco? It's everywhere.
The character of San Francisco. The characters in San Francisco. Yes. It's like it is the other Mecca.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So, unfortunately, you have to deal with that. But the diving is just spectacular there. Oh, crazy as to get down. But that's a fairly easy trip. And as it turns out, of course, I have we do have some relatives in Florida. Tara's got a sister and brother-in-law and that are in, where are they at? Not Port St. Lucie. Maybe that is Port St. Lucie. Anyway, around the Orlando area. I have a former classmate there by in the Boca Raton area. And I found out that my nephew, who is a diver, he and his wife moved to near Pensacola.
Oh.
And so he's forget what the company was he's working for. But anyway, he hadn't been diving for a few years. I was like, well, you're in a prime spot, man. If you aren't putting the gear back on, you're crazy. I said, you've got a dive that we've wanted to make, which is the Oriskany, which is a big aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
That's sunk off of there. I said, well, we may have to make a trip
just to go say hi.
Just say hi and let's go diving. Yeah. But yeah, that's the ticket though, is to decide. Absolutely, you're going to take that time breakaway. Unfortunately, what I see a lot of family types doing is that even though they're divers, most or part of the family are divers, what they don't, they end up, in my opinion, wasting every vacation going and seeing family.
Yeah.
You know what? Let them come to see you sometime. You need to enjoy going to do something that is not at the beck and call of your extended family. The vacation that you go on should be for your vacation, for your family. Yeah. And so, yes, I understand most people are much closer to their extended family than I am. I have zero contact other than maybe Facebook here and there. But I just don't have that desire. Yeah. Tara does, but she goes on other trips, or they come here on other trips.
Right.
But our vacation together is our vacation together. It's we may go with friends who are going for the same reason we're going.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't go on our vacation to go wrap it around other family members. Yeah. Because then we end up doing what they want to do, and not what we want to do, which is scuba dive. We want to scuba dive. That's why we go. So there are a number of, I tell you, scuba diving packages are so economical these days. You can go a number of places, whatever you set in your heart to go. You can find some amazing dive packages out there. You just have to set your sights on doing that. And, you know, we're using our tax return to do that. So we're focusing... You know, we're going to focus a good chunk on that. We're definitely going to get that camera.
Okay. I was going to ask.
We're definitely, that's like first thing out of the box, we're getting that camera.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you're going to get the camera before you plan the trip.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to want to break that
Yeah, if we're going to Cayman, I am not, that reminds me, I've got to share this.
Uh-oh.
Well, we knew we were, of course, we did the Cayman dive as part of a cruise. It was one of the shore excursions. And we ended up borrowing a very good underwater camera from a friend of ours who was retired Navy. I think I told you this story. And so we go out on this trip. And, of course, this was non-digital. It was still film type. But it was a very good camera. So we go out there, and we're on our first of the 2 dives that we were going to get to take. Tara's just having a great time, and I'm getting some great pictures of her and of the sea life there, and I wanted her to get a picture of me up against this formation, so she got a picture of me, and she's handing the camera back to me. Well, she thought I had a hold of the camera, and I thought that she had a hold of the camera. When she let go, I didn't have a full grip on it, and neither of us had the lanyard attached.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's buoyant.
Yeah.
And so, and we're at 60 feet down, and it's polarising to the surface, and it's drift diving there. So I knew there was no way I was going to go get the camera. I mean, I couldn't get 60 feet to the surface and be able to find them in the ocean. On the lake, it's easy enough. You can watch for bubbles, but when you're in the ocean, you're not going to see, unless there's a whole group together, you're not going to see a ton of bubbles at the surface to follow those down. I'm like, so I end up having to buy them a new camera. So this time, if we go to Cayman, I'm bringing a camera, and that thing is going to be tied to my waist. It's going to be tied to my waist.
Just have a backup lanyard attached to a D-ring to your vest.
Go.
You know,
That's
to
it.
your BC, and we'll be good.
That's it. So, okay, as we're starting to wind down here, I found out about this this group called the Worldwide Christian Scuba Divers Organization. And they had, I'd never heard of this group before, but I definitely want to check more into it because it sounds pretty cool. They had a 22-member group go to Roatan, Honduras, which is a great diving location, to help build a local church.
Ooh, cool.
To work in the orphanages, local villages, even the dump in a prison, providing food packages, water, toys, Bibles, etc., and basically just showing the love of God to these people. I mean, that was amazing. I was looking at some of the pictures of the stuff they were doing, the old good old-fashioned barn raising, you know, they were doing with the church. 22 members from California, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Washington, New York, Florida, and Georgia. I mean, all over the country. And matter of fact, I was checking out their website. Let me bring it up here. There we go. So it's wcsdo.org to check it out. It's you can give donations. They give you a calendar of the kind of stuff they're doing. You can join the group. They have local chapters, which is pretty cool. Pretty good gallery of things that they do. I love right off the bat they provide their mission statement, which is pretty cool. I love it. It's pretty awesome. So if you happen to be a Christian and be into diving, this might be a good group to hook up with, especially if you're interested in applying your particular skills or just simply manpower to help folks out in different parts of the country. That their next trip is scheduled for the 12th through the 21st of October. They're going to the Bahamas to help them out. I was like, well, it'd be cool. Yeah. So basically, they talk about how they go and do all this work, but then they're able to take some of their off time to do some snorkeling and scuba diving. I'm like, wow, what a combination.
Well, I mean, they're going to be in the area, of course. I mean, just take advantage, you know. But they're doing it for a good cause. It's to help people out, obviously. Try to establish some, some things out there, which I think is awesome.
Play this video. Welcome to the Worldwide Christian Scuba Divers Organization, and the theme of joining two passions that many of us have and want to experience together.
Nice.
Mission work and scuba diving. Hello, my name is Jim Musto, and I'm one of the founders of the WCSDO.
Hi, Jim.
When we travel throughout the world, we are often attracted to the dining, accommodations, and activities within resort areas. Many of these various businesses provide their services to travelers by hiring many local residents. We may or may not realize that beyond the isolated tourist resorts and attractions, there is very often poverty, hunger, and depression coupled with a spirit of emptiness and hopelessness.
That was really true in Jamaica.
As to not distract from the relaxation and enjoyment of travelers. Despite these efforts, many of us have seen this poverty and the hopelessness in the eyes of many of these people and have wondered how we might get involved and help. God has given all of us gifts and talents that we need to put to use in the servicing of God's kingdom.
She's about to lose her tank.
Gifts such as teaching,
she's swaying
intercession, and skills such
she's
as
sculling a lot.
Engineers, doctors, nurses, laborers, cooks, cleaners, artists, musicians, and many, many more. God tells us in Matthew 6:33 to seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Our mission trips strive to fulfill this directive by bringing the many blessings God has already given us and giving away to others in need. In partnership with local ministries, we will be informed of the...
Love it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so check out their website, wcsdo.org. Or you can send them an email, contact them at info@wcsdo.org. Looks like a pretty worthwhile group to be part of. Oh no, I might contact them to see how it works as far as setting up a chapter. We might be able to use that as another encouragement or marketing tool. You know, of course, we're having a hard time just getting local volunteer work going here.
Yeah.
I never did get a response back from
the city.
No, on what's going on with that. So, oh no, I think if we're going to get anything done in that arena, we may have to kind of spearhead it and just say, all right, we'll run the show.
We may. I'm afraid that because
don't be afraid.
I'm afraid that because of the way local government is run, we'll probably have to address the city council. Go up there when they're meeting. And
well, we can do that. We'll wear our dive club shirts.
Go there and just kind of, address city council and tell them that the importance of the local creek and how bad, some of the things that we found in there.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
It's extremely dangerous.
Yep.
And there's no signs out there, swim at your own risk or anything like that. So, I mean, people throw everything and anything in there. It's breezy.
Yeah.
All those plastic bags up in there, and then they sink down and they just get stuck. Yeah. It's nasty.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful place.
It is.
It's, I mean, we've done training there.
Yeah.
If they would just clean that up a little bit, some of that hydrilla that's there, just kind of clean it up.
Right.
Because it looks like it's a little out of control.
Yeah.
But God, it would be an awesome place to swim.
Oh yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
It's nice.
Absolutely right.
But if we can do something to help out the city, we've always been there for that. So.
Yep. So we'll and more information on that if we can get something rolling here. Well, as we wind down, we actually may have finished pretty close to on time, which is good. Let's hit some administrivia. All right. So our next dive club meeting, the 18th of April at Rudy's Restaurant, 7 p.m. And our Balmorhea State Park trips coming up May 17th through the 19th, June 14th through the 16th, July 19th through the 21st, and anniversary weekend, August 16th through the 18th. And, of course, we do have basic open water classes if we do have water in the lake to teach.
I was about to say that. You beat me to it. I'm like, water.
Oh, my gosh, it's just looking worse and worse. I haven't seen if they've started to let the other 12 to 15 feet out.
I think they did.
Oh. So, tentatively, we will have open water classes 23rd through the 26th of May, 27th through the 30th of June, 25th through the 28th of July, 22nd through the 25th of August, and the 26th through the 29th of September. Now, if you'd like to keep up with us outside of the podcast, you can visit us at delriodiveclub.com or seek us out on Facebook /Del Rio Dive Club. And you can send us messages via Skype Messenger at Two Guys Who Dive, or send us email to tgwd@outlook.com. And, of course, ScubaBob would love for you to contact him.
Please.
Yes.
You don't know how sad I get when I open up my email and I don't have anything.
Nothing. Most activity you get is either Twitter or text messages.
I have to pick fights with people.
I know, and that's sad. It's kind of like that old saying. Well, the only way my mom could get the dogs to play with me was to tie a hamburger, tie beef to me
around my neck. The other day I was giving Troy a hard time about his phone. I was bored. So please reach out, say something to me.
Yeah, he's got he just upgraded all of their devices. So they got 3 Lumia 920s, and they're just digging the Windows Phone 8 world. So, but anyway, you can please follow ScubaBob on Twitter at rsgarza435, or follow him, send him an email at rsgarza821@yahoo.com. Just follow him and move on. He'll love it.
Send me something.
Send him something. Let him know you love him. He really cares about you. And I do, too. You can follow me on Twitter at RobertCFP. That's right. Or you can send me an email at robert.wade@setifox.net. So, we would love to hear from you guys. And definitely comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us. We'd love to know that you guys are checking us out. And if you have any comments, questions, or positive or otherwise. Although we'll ignore the negative ones. No, we're just kidding. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely comment on the negative ones. That's for sure.
Yeah, really. We want to know how to improve. But so we enjoy having you join us. You're not going to be here next week.
Nope, not next week.
No, you've got your big event going on, right?
No, Sandy, my big event already passed this past week.
No, I mean, didn't you have like a performance that you were working on?
Yes, that is this coming week.
Okay.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. See, I remember that stuff.
There you go.
Being the performer, I appreciate that stuff.
I'm telling you, writing, getting those things in order, they're tough, especially when you're doing it with other people that are not very inclined that way,
Believe me, I know. I've done enough time in community theater. I know all about that.
It's pulling teeth, and it's a little
or
rough.
grinding teeth, or there's sometimes it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly that.
Not good. So, that pretty much wraps it up this week. We enjoy having you with us, and I will see you here next week. And then the week after that, ScubaBob will be right back in the saddle.
I'll be back.
And we will see you later on the next episode of Two Guys Who Dive. See ya.